My name is Joel David Bakst, and can everyone hear me? Yes, yes, yes. Great. Now, you folks that are tuning in, you're part of an actual live class that's taking place here. We actually have live Noahites. And they have tags, so they've been authenticated. And sometimes this group is a little riotous, so we'll try to keep them tame. They're especially excited tonight because they're going live. In any event, I will be entertaining questions that you type in, and I'm very accustomed to a highly interactive class environment. I don't have a choice. And we have with us present here, we have Jeff, we have Jean, we have Charlie, we have Catherine, and Allison. And there's a few other regulars that aren't here tonight. In any event, I want to welcome Ray and Mary, Alan and Eileen, Glenn and Michelle, and Jim and Lori. And is that yes, okay. And if you've, I assume you've all read my bio, give you a little indication of my background, where I'm coming from, and the subject matter of this class. Oh, so Adam Penrod just joined us. Hello, Adam. Which brings us to the topic of our class. Adam. Perfect timing, Adam. Thank you. This class is, this course, it's an ongoing course, is entitled The Body of Adam. The secret of Noahites, B'nai Noach, at during the end time period that we are in. Now, there's always been a secret or mystery regarding the phenomenon of B'nai Noach, but as you all know, we're living in very unusual, very auspicious, very prophetic times, and the secret teachings of the Torah, well, all the teachings of the Torah regarding B'nai Noach are coming to the foreground through different avenues, different media, none the least of which is Noahide Nations. And I'm very honored to have this opportunity to share some of my Torah insights and the transmissions, traditions that I have received in Torah from my living teachers and from the many teachers that I have found within the Holy Sfarim, the holy books of the Torah. The body of Adam is a term that we've been using, and some of the B'nai Noach here have been in classes with me for 1, 2, 3, and more years so far. And so we've been developing some of these concepts together, and I want to emphasize that this is a mutual interaction. I am learning from you as much as you are learning from me, and I certainly could not have come to some of the conclusions and be directed in the direction that I've gone with my understanding of the mystery of B'nai Noach without the interaction with the folks that are here with us this evening. And it continues to grow. Torah is investigation, its discovery, and our understanding is constantly evolving deeper and deeper. And so, just the point I wanted to make before, because of the interactive nature of how I do teach, please feel free to type in your questions at any point, and I'll try to make sure that I'm looking at the screen here to catch your questions. The body of Adam is a term that we've come to use that incorporates the purpose and mission of not only the nation of Israel, but of the nation of Noah as well. And in one sense, we could say that our goal in understanding, our goal of this course is to understand the profound relationship between Bnei Yaakov and Bnei Noach. And one of the ways that I teach, I have an extensive background in the Kabbalah, in the various traditions of the Kabbalah. And about 20-25 years ago, I discovered that by utilizing certain maps, models, and metaphors that have been discovered, revealed in the new sciences, going back, say, 150 years with the new understandings of geometry, non-Euclidean geometries, and then, of course, with relativity, quantum mechanics, and other little, what seem like oddities and just novelties in the world of science. I have been using them for over 20 years now as a type of quick induction method to be able to transmit some of the most profound and subtle concepts and teachings of the Torah to individuals that don't have the background, and due to if only our age, it's unlikely that we're going to be able to devote the 10-20 years or more that's required for one to truly immerse oneself in the inner teachings of the Torah. Of course, that requires being well versed in the outer teachings of the Torah. And so the way that I teach methodology along with the content. And this is because one of the axioms that I work with is that it's not so much what we're looking at, but where we are looking from. And truly, a Torah worldview is radically different from not only the Occidental, the Western worldview, but also from the Eastern Oriental worldview. And I will be returning to this concept, and I have scores of graphics that I've developed over the years that we will be utilizing, and we will be utilizing these specific maps, models, and metaphors, and the big six that we will be learning to familiarize ourselves with, that are these maps and models coming from the scientific community that enable us as glasses to perceive things in the Torah in a way that we would not normally be able to unless we would have the 10, 20, 30 or more years of the study of not only of the exoteric Torah, but of the esoteric, the inner teachings of the Torah. And this is all based upon a prophecy that's recorded in the Holy Zohar, that was written down, revealed in the 13th century. Of course, the tradition of the Zohar goes back to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai of the 2nd century. And in this prophecy, which I'm sure some of you are aware of. It states that in the period corresponding the Christian calendar to the year 1740 and 1840, that the well springs of wisdom from below, together with the gates of wisdom from above, will be opened up simultaneously in order to prepare the world, that's us, to prepare us for the next stage of global evolution, aka the Messianic era of Mashiach ben David, which is the precursor then for Olam Haba, the next world, the seventh millennium. And it's based upon this prophecy, which has been commented upon and supported by Hasidic sources and Kabbalistic sources, none of the least of which is the Gaon of Vilna, who in a document, a book called Kol HaTor, the voice of the turtle dove, where there he and his disciples spell out that it's not only an option, it's not a luxury, it's not just that these maps and models are being used as simple metaphors, but rather it's incumbent upon us. It's a responsibility to take these maps, models, and metaphors and to use them as the vessels to contain the lights of the Torah that otherwise we would not be able to perceive. Once again, all the sages of the Torah always had this knowledge. They received it directly. But for us in our generation that have been so far removed from not just the Torah, but the whole Torah mindset, the worldview of the Torah, which is radically different from that of the 70 nations, radically different from that of Greek thought and Greek perspective, which is the foundation of the Western mode of thinking, that these tools are essential. And what I'm referring to is specifically, just like I remember in shop in junior high school, we were introduced to the 6 simple tools, and everything is based upon that. Well, I've discovered there are 6 simple tools, okay, maybe there's 7, but that are of a profound help to explore the secret teachings of the Torah, particularly as they apply to B'nai Noach and B'nai Yaakov. And they are the Mobius strip model, which introduces us to the idea of there being only one surface that has 2 sides. This is a concept of a singular duality or a dualistic singularity that enables us to get literally quite a visual and a kinesthetic grasp on the fundamental teaching of Judaism of the oneness of Hashem. And the second tool is that of what I refer to as the flatland model. Flatland, we're borrowing this term from a famous book written by Edwin Abbott over 100 years ago, who was a Shakespearean scholar and mathematician. And that book introduces us to the idea of dimensionality, higher and lower dimensionality, which is absolutely fundamental for every Jew and every Ben Noach to get a grasp of in order to understand Torah, because all Torah is built upon this concept that there is more than the apparent 3 dimensions of space and the additional 4th dimension of time that since Einstein have been wedded together into a space-time continuum. and that the concept of flatland introduces us to that and allows us to be conversant with the inner world of how the sages actually were viewing reality. The third tool is the model of holography, that we live in a holographic universe. This is fundamental in the Torah, particularly in the Kabbalah. It's known as the hitlapshut, the hikalaluta olamot, the interpenetration of the dimensions and worlds. And the fourth model will be, what's the fourth model? Thank you. Right. It's something that I picked up from quantum mechanics. I'm not a physicist, and physics and math is certainly not my forte, but I picked this up from one of the excellent books that I recommend. If one has no introduction, foundation, the modern new physics, an excellent book is called The Dancing Woolley Masters. That's WU-LI. It actually came out in the 80s. Some of it may be a little antiquated by now, but it's excellent work because it has what's called, it's a Yiddish cup. The author, who is Jewish, but he's a non-Torah Jew, but he approaches it from a type of Gemara dialectic approach. So it's a very Jewish, albeit it's a secular approach, but it introduced me, along with some other books, to modern physics. And once again, let me emphasize, according to the prophecy of the Zohar, the evolution of science that's been taking place in the last 150 years, that's been accelerating at unprecedented rates that are just mind-boggling. This is part of the messianic process, and we cannot take this lightly. The Torah teaches that originally all knowledge was contained in a seamless unity in Gan Eden. And because of the fall, the collapse of Adamic consciousness and Adamic reality, all knowledge split apart. And thus we have the phenomenon of scientific secular knowledge and spiritual religious knowledge. But in truth, they are one entity as a vessel is to the light that it contains. And it's in our generation that these two great modes of wisdom, the wisdom from above and the wisdom from below, the spirituality, the godly truths of the Torah, particularly of the Kabbalah, and the secular discoveries that are pouring forth from the sciences and the new technologies, these are the two aspects, literally, of the tree of knowledge that are coming back together. They're being unified in our generation, or let's put it this way, all the parts are here. All the pieces of the puzzle are being revealed to us. It's our job, it's our responsibility, our mission, both for Jews and non-Jews, to pick up the pieces and put them back and to help rebuild the higher dimensional reality and consciousness of Adam. This is part of the concept of the body of Adam. In the end, there is nothing here but Adam. And we'll see that it's Adam and Chava and the Nachash in the Garden of Eden. And you can figure out who's who. And that's something we will be touching upon as well, because it's quite crucial, because that is the paradigm, the model to understand who the nation of Israel is, who B'nai Noach are, and who are the 70 nations. Oh, and we were speaking about the fourth tool, We do a lot of hypertexting in this class. This is the Jewish way. This is the way of Talmud. It's the original hypertext, the original internet, where everything is hyperlinked, and we just have to be careful and be observant to bring ourselves back to the homepage. We can click so far and then go, where was I? And we were speaking about a tool, very powerful, amazing tool. It's very simple, even though it can sound a little intimidating to some of us. A coherent superposition, that is a concept developed in quantum mechanics. It's a new type of logic, because they simply cannot apply the classical Greek model, the whole history of 2,000 years of Western civilization and more, to the phenomenon of this quantum reality. In any event, it's a coherent superposition is simply that when we are trying to define something, we will posit it is this or it is that. We have two possibilities, and that's the way our mind, our left brain, our rational mind always approaches things. Something is either this or that. In a coherent superposition, it simply means we are superpositioning one of the possibilities on top of the other possibility to create a new coherency. And so what we have in the end is not this and it's not that. But it's not this and it's not that. It is more than both, yet containing both. And I don't know if you heard in the background, they were chanting it along, because they've all been trained, and it's referred to as not language. And if you think that's mysterious, well, wait till we introduce you to the land of never not. Not to be confused with not language. And the other tool that we'll be introducing along the way is fractal geometry in modern predeterministic chaos theory. We could spend classes upon classes of studying about the amazing phenomenon discovery of fractal geometry. This is clearly a messianic tool that has been bestowed upon us by the Holy One, if only to have compassion on us, to enable us to, as I said, as a type of quick induction method, particularly for B'nai Noach, who are not going to necessarily have, in most cases, access to years of studying Torah. But ironically, B'nai Noach don't have the same responsibility to learn all of the peshat, all of the narrative and the literal meaning of the Torah, all of the halachot that a Jew has responsibility. And when a Ben Noach becomes conversant with the fundamental laws of the B'nai Noach, and all of the material that, of course, is relevant to that, which itself can go on for lifetimes, a Ben Noach actually has a right, assuming one has proper teachers and one has the proper spiritual maturity. A Ben Noach has a right to access some of the deeper Kabbalistic teachings of the Torah as they apply to understanding the purpose and mission of being a Ben Noach. And fractal geometry, which has only been around for about 30 years, discovered by Benoit Mandelbrot, a Jew, a secular Jew. But it's important to be aware of historically the role that Jews are playing in the entirety of Western civilization, particularly in the new sciences. Because once again, the approach here is that the revelations taking place, the discoveries in science, regardless of how the scientists view it and how they use it, but from a Torah perspective, these are gems. Actually, they're the magnifying glasses to use to look at the gems of the Torah. And so we'll be introducing along the way the teachings, concepts of fractal geometry, and also the corollary to fractal geometry is predeterministic modern chaos theory, which, if you're not familiar with, really has little to do with chaos. It's really about a sublime order. And we'll see why that's so crucial, that's so important, and the fact that it's referred to as ordered chaos, we'll see more than an echo of that in the second verse of the Torah, V'ha'aretz hayta tohu uvohu, that tohu, from the time of the Septuagint translation of the Torah into Greek, the Greek word for tohu was chaos. And so we'll see that in many ways we're coming full circle, because this is the resurrection of the Eitz Hada'at Tov V'Ra, the tree of knowledge, of secular knowledge and Torah knowledge, that needs to be reunited one with the other. This is not, however, a simple confluence. It's the relationship of the vessel to the light. It's what enables us to see the light of the Torah. But these unique tools of modern science are so profound that they cannot even be simply thrown away in the sense that, oh, okay, I used it as a metaphor, now I get it. These tools are like glasses that we actually can be and need to be wearing all the time if we really want to take a look into the inner teachings, the teachings of the Kabbalah, of the Holy Torah. Now, there's one other tool. That was number 5. So what's number 6?
In and out ball.
No. We've developed a number of props, actual physical little things. In most cases, they're very inexpensive little kind of toy-like things. And we'll be introducing those as well, that enable us to grasp otherwise very arcane concepts. But we're missing one, because there's got to be 6 or 7. What is it?
Oh, Klein bottle.
No, the Klein bottle is an extension of the Mobius strip.
Not the fractals and chaos are the same.
Yeah, fractals and chaos are part of the same tool. Come on, guys. Oh, split brain hemisphericity. You got to use both your heads. Okay. The other tool, which then gives us 6 tools, is split brain hemisphericity, which has been around for 40 years now or more. The scientific discovery in neurology and the brain sciences that, lo and behold, we don't have one brain. We have 2 brains. And they're known as the right and left hemisphere. And this is crucial. This is fundamental in Torah. Anyone who studied the Kabbalah, you're immediately confronted with the teachings in Lurianic Kabbalah and of the Zohar of the Moach Yamin and Moach Small. Literally, right brain and left brain. And this will enable us to understand, among many things, the phenomenon of the rabbinical machloket. The rabbinical disputes or argument, which is not a dispute and it's not an argument. They're actually building a coherent superposition that's not this or not that. They're generating something in the middle, which is called the da'at. The da'at being the middle brain, da'at also coming from the Hebrew root meaning to unite, to know in a unified manner. And so I'm introducing just the essentially the headings of some of these maps, models, and metaphors that we will be using to explore, as we explore and go on our journey. And this is what we need to do, as I have, this has been my experience, in order to understand the mystery of the body of Adam. In short, the simple meaning of this is that because of the fall of Adam, of higher dimensional consciousness, reality, consciousness/reality, because at that time and place, in that space-time, in that higher dimensional reality, there was no separation between consciousness and reality. Adam contained all reality and was all consciousness. And we will see that with the model of flatland and higher and lower dimensionality, for many of us, this will be the first time that we'll be able to take that whole concept and teaching, which is the backbone of the Torah, of the whole story of Genesis and Adam and Chava and the fall and the Nachash. We're going to be able to take that out of a realm of mythology and of biblical imagery. Even if we know it's not mythology, we know that this is true, but because we don't have any unique tools to understand that, we're left with, okay, Adam and Eve, some kind of, I don't know what they were, but some kind of human in some kind of garden, and I know it's all true, I don't understand it. Well, we are going to be taking a look at that from a very different perspective and actually being able to get glimpses of the higher dimensional reality. And this is not an extra. This is not a luxury. This is not something that, if somebody has a propensity for that, good for them, but for others, they don't care. We're all going to have to engage this and know this. Why? Because we are on the cusp. We're on the edge. And reality is about to undergo the most radical transformation since the time of the collapse of higher dimensionality. And that is why the teachings of B'nai Noach are coming out. This is why the phenomenon of B'nai Noach is taking place in our generation. We are, according to the Zohar and the Kabbalists, our generation is known as the Dor Ha'acharon, the final generation. And the final generation isn't called that simply because it's the last generation, the last in the line, as it were. It's called the final generation because the sages knew, and the Torah prophesies, that our generation is going to be utterly unique. It's like the edge of a garment. It's doubled over. There's something thicker there. And that thickness is both a plus and a minus. We're very thick. Emotionally and spiritually, this is the most dead of all the generations. And that's because we literally are at the feet of time. We are the feet of time. And let me pull up here. Let's see. Let's take this one. I'll explain this. The graphic that's up there now. I'll explain that another time. Let's see. Let's hyperlink here. Let's see if we can get lost again. All right. Now, this is the Adamic timeline. This is a graphic that I designed. I don't know if we can make it bigger. It's pretty small. But for our purposes right now, you can see the, let's see, Ray, is there any way I can make this larger without making it too technical? No, okay. Well, we'll do that next time. We'll go into the details. But for our purpose here, what we see, and this is a foundation to understand the body of Adam, that we know the Talmud tells us that present reality is to exist for 6,000 years, 6 millennia. And this is 2,000 years of tohu, of chaos, 2,000 years of Torah, and 2,000 years of Mashiach. And at another time we'll go into the explanation of what those terms actually are referring to. But you see that if we take the body of a human being and superimpose it, it breaks up into 3 sections, each of 2,000 years. And if you'll see that little circle there? It says, "You are here." It's pointing to the feet. Now, the sages referred to the Dor Acharon, the final generation, in another term as well, and that's known as the Ikvata de Mashiach. That term, Aramaic term, is rendered variously as the footsteps of the Messiah, the heels of the Messiah. And the Peshat, the simple meaning of the term is you're see like footprints in the sand. You see you're getting close to the person. There's a trail. The trail is coming into view. We're getting close to the end. That's one meaning of the term, the Ikvata de Mashiach, the footsteps of the Messiah, which is a term, one of the many terms that refer to the edge of time, the end of days. Another meaning of the heels of the Messiah is that we are not only in the period of the heels or the feet of the Messiah, but what? We literally are the feet of the Messiah. That all our entire reality, the Kabbalah teaches that every generation contains within it a shiur koma, a complete stature, a complete structure of Adam, of a Adam, of a human. Meaning that in our generation, there's the leaders, they make up the head. There's the schleppers, they make up the feet. And there's everybody else in between. And in between, there'll be those that are associated more with the right side, the left side, and then there are those associated with this organ or that organ. Now, this exists in every generation. In other words, every generation is a slice, although it's a slice in the body of the large atom, in its entirety, it's a gestalt containing all the constituents, all the parts of a complete body. Okay? In the Kabbalah, this is referred to as a partsuf shalem. A partsuf is a term that means a persona, a gestalt, a fully integrated whole that will have a top, middle, bottom, right side, and left side, also known as the form of an Adam. And that, incidentally, is what the 10 Sfirot are all about, the well-known concept and image of the Kabbalah. Those 10 Sfirot are none other than simply a shiur koma, a complete stature, an integrated gestalt of an entire body. But it itself breaks down into other constituents, other components, and because of the holographic principle that we referred to before, each part truly contains all the other parts. And likewise, every period of history, which is in fact, the body of Adam that is going through the process of redeeming and resurrecting itself, every generation, every slice in the greater body of Adam, although it's a complete persona in and of itself, it contains the elements of all the other parts that ever were. Just as in a body, we have our veins and nerves and arteries running through, and so nothing is simply independent of itself. And using the holographic model, which in the Kabbalah once again is referred to as the hitlapshut, the hitkalaluta olamot, the interpenetration of the different various worlds and dimensions. So when we get down to the bottom of time, which is where we are now in Jewish time, in Torah time, 5,766 years from the time of the fall, and we'll emphasize, as I'm sure some of you know, that's really not from Torah time does not begin from the creation of Yom Rishon, the first day of creation. Rather, it begins from the time of Adam, specifically because Rosh Hashanah, of course, is the creation and manifestation of Adam and Chava. That's really the beginning of the year, beginning of time. But more specifically, that time starts ticking, or human time as we know it now does not begin ticking until the fall of Adam. And all of history, all of human history, according to the Kabbalah, has simply been the very process of Adam himself, through the medium of humanity, and specifically through the agency of the nation of Israel. Adam has been traveling through time and space, picking up all of the fallen parts, the nitzot, a key term in the Kabbalah, it's translated as sparks. However, I believe a more sophisticated term is these are fractal sparks. And when we learn about the term fractal, we'll see why. Simply put, a fractal is a term coined that refers to a fractured fraction of a part. In any event, we are down at the bottom of this process because we're about to come up to the 6,000 year marker, and yes, I wish I could enlarge it. I can. The problem is, Jim and Laurie, it's either this small or it's so big you can only see a small part of the picture, and so I'm going to have to adjust that for next time. I mean, I could do it now, but that would take class time away. As I said, we're going to go into this diagram in detail, the Adamic timeline. We'll do that in our next session. I really brought this up now just to show us one important point here of where we are in the picture, why our generation is the Dor Acharon, and why the phenomenon of B'nai Noach is taking place specifically now, and the responsibility and role that B'nai Noach, the righteous Gentiles, have in the body of Adam. And so the deeper Kabbalistic explanation of why the sages referred to the end time as the Ikvata de Mashiach, the heels or the feet of the Messiah, is because that's literally what we are. And that then explains why, on one hand, we're such a coarse generation, thick-skinned, thick-souled, calloused. We are a very calloused generation, dead in many ways, just as the skin on the bottom of the feet becomes thick and calloused, and in some cases dead-like. That's the downside of being the feet of Adam. The upside is that just as every generation really contains the essence of all the previous generations, the phenomenon is accentuated profoundly when you get to the edge. And we can see this as an example in a healing art known as reflexology, that is based upon the principle that in the soles of the feet you have points or meridians if you record for a second, you will save the graphic, which prints out nicely. What do you mean, Glenn and Michelle? If you record for a second, you will save. Oh, if I recorded. Is that correct? You lost me on that one. If we are the... Oh, I get it. Okay. We are the feet, and because we are the feet, just as in reflexology, you can affect different parts of the body, all the way up to the head and the brain, and even internal organs within the brain. They can be affected, massaged, as it were, stimulated by touching specific points at the bottom of the feet. Using that just as the example here, our generation is, because we are the feet of the Messiah, this term, the Ikvata de Mashiach, who is Messiah? Who is Mashiach? It's none other than Adam. And this is a code that's well known in the Kabbalah, that the word Adam, Aleph Daled Mem, is a Roshei Tevot, is a acronym for Adam, David, and Mashiach. In other words, when Mashiach comes, that will be none other than the original Adam. When Mashiach reveals himself, at that point, when the stage and the messianic process, even involved with the personal Mashiach ben David, goes through many stages. When it reaches a certain stage, we won't even be looking at Mashiach. We will all be part of it, and that will be none other than the resurrected body of Adam, the original Adam HaRishon. And so, when the sages are alluding to the feet of the Mashiach, is none other than the feet of Adam. And our generation, we have the ability, and whether it happens consciously or unconsciously, intentional or unintentional, through the front door, through the back door, and Hashem has ways of getting everything done, whether we agree with it or not. As Hashem says, my ways are not your ways, and my thoughts are not your ways. And Hashem is orchestrating it so that our generation not only is going to be rectifying itself, but we are having an effect on all the previous generations, going all the way back through time. This is an important concept to understand the body of Adam. It's not just a metaphor. It's not just a concept. We literally are. Ultimately, we'll see there is nothing here but the body of Adam. The higher dimensional body, that when it fell, it split and it fractured into millions and billions of fractured fractions of itself. And that's what we refer to now as fractals. And we are on that period of time where we're picking up the final pieces, the final fractal nitzot. And This is a process that involves not only the nation of Israel, but the righteous of the nations. And one of the themes of my course is that Bnei Noach are not just an extra. They are crucial, they are pivotal to the process, to the redemption process, and crucial to the state of the next stage of human evolution. And here's a rhetorical question that we're always asking. And another technique that I use is I refer to it as a Torah kohen. That's not Kohen, C-O-H-E-N. That's kohen, K-O-A-N. A kohen is a type of method used in the school of Zen Buddhism, type of meditation that attempts to get the mind to go beyond itself. And I'm just using it in this, similar to how the term mantra is used to explain some of the ancient Jewish meditation techniques. A Torah kohen is used to get us to go beyond our normal way of thinking of a this or that, this Greek mindset. And one of the Torah koans is this, and that is that the phenomenon of Bnei Noach, we know, does not only exist in this world now. It exists in the future world. And we see that, for example, in the pasuk, in the verse from Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 60, where it says, Halchu goyim le'orech u'malachim le'noga zarchech. And which is that it says the nations will walk in your light, and the kings in the radiant noga of your glow. And here, so we see one example of many where the prophet is referring to the righteous of the nations, who will be the only ones that will be still existing. That is the righteous Bnei Noach. They will clearly be existing in the next world. Well, whatever exists in the next world, in the higher world, the higher dimension, is really part of the original Garden of Eden. In other words, whatever exists now and whatever exists in the future, it had to have a existence in the Garden of Eden, in that higher dimensional reality. The question is, where and how? Now, it existed, many things existed there only on a root level. But a root level, simply, if you magnify something enough, then it becomes apparent. It could be hiding in concealing itself, but it must be there. In other words, this is the Torah koan, the Torah mind puzzle, as it were. And these are meant to be rhetorical, that we use to keep pushing ourselves further to understand the deeper mystery of the teachings of the Torah. And in this case, the question is, where were the Bnei Noach in the Garden of Eden? And for extra points, where were and who was the 70 evil nations in the Garden of Eden? To answer this question is ultimately to answer what I consider the three greatest questions of human existence. There are three mysteries that is incumbent upon all of us to solve. And when we say solve, there's not a simple answer. We keep looking, we increase the resolution. We're always looking for resolutions, not answers. A resolution is a type of answer, but it also implies the constant magnification, increasing the resolution. What are the three great mysteries of existence? What are God's three greatest mysteries? First is, who are the Jews? What is the purpose and mission of the Jews? Is the famous essay written by Mark Twain over 100 years ago. Who can explain the eternity of the nation of Israel? That's the first question. The second question is, what is the root, the spiritual roots of anti-Semitism, of Jew hatred? There have been hundreds, if not thousands, of books and essays and sermons and explanations by Jews and non-Jews trying to give some rationale for the bizarre, inexplicable phenomenon of the eternal the world's hatred of Jews. What is the spiritual roots of anti-Semitism? That's the second question. And really those two questions, each is the inverse of the other. If you know the answer to one, you will know the answer to the other. And the third question, the third great mystery is, what is the nature of B'nai Noach? And truthfully, if you know the resolution to that, you will know the resolution to the other two, and vice versa. I want to leave you with just one idea, thought that we'll continue to explore, and that is that this is everyone's familiar with the statement from the sages recorded in the Talmud that there are Sheva mitzvot nitztavu b'nei Noach, that b'nei Noach were commanded 7 mitzvahs, and there's a question of why 7 and why is it associated with Noah? They should be associated with Adam. Well, the Ben Ish Chai in his sefer called Ben Yehoyada, which is commentary on the Agadita of the Talmud, he gives in part a answer to why the number 7, and this is something that is going to be a key to the direction that we're going to be going in. And you're all familiar with different associations with the number of 7, the great magical number, the most mystic number of 7. Well, he says that one of the reasons that the number 7 is specifically associated with B'nai Noach, he says, Keneged Shiv'a Malachim Shenishbaru, the 7 kings who were shattered. This is known as the death of the primordial kings, or the Shvirat HaKelim, the breaking of the cosmic vessels that preceded the process of Genesis. This is the entire backbone of Lurianic Kabbalah and entire sections of the Zohar. In here lies the key to understanding the mystery of B'nai Noach, the eternity of B'nai Noach, and the eternity of the nation of Israel in the secret teachings of what's known as the death of the primordial kings, of the 7 primordial kings. And so here we have an important point, that important source coming from Rabbi Yosef Chaim of Baghdad, the great Sephardi Kabbalist, who's giving us a clue, going beyond the surface understandings of the 7 laws of Noah, that these are intrinsically tied in with the mystery of the 7 primordial kings. This is the hidden landscape upon which our present reality has been fashioned and molded, and ultimately to understand anything on a deeper level, what's going on in the world today, whether it be cosmogeopolitics or everyday events, it is rooted in the secret of the primordial worlds, also known as the 974 primordial generations. Okay, so I just wanted to leave you with that idea. It's something that we will be investigating in the future classes. And today's class was more of highlighting some of the different areas that we will be going. I am aware that a lot of this material is going to be new, if not even radically new to some of you, and we will take it slowly, step by step. I have additional essays and articles that I can make available to you that expound upon a number of these concepts that I've touched upon, including the maps, models, and metaphors. I have two little books that I've written that explain those, although we will be going over them eventually in class as well. Are there any questions at this point? Objections? Or even if you want to make a good joke. We have a question here. Are the fractal sparks that Adam is picking up through time considered the pieces of the shattered vessel of Adam? This is a question by Ray. And yes, the fractal sparks that Adam is picking up throughout time, these are the shattered parts of Adam himself. The Torah tells us, because of the fall, the Torah says, on the day that you eat from it, you will surely die. The Zohar tells us death is simply when you go from one level to a level below. When you're forced, compelled to go to a level that's not your true state of affairs, of reality, that's called death. And so Adam was told, in effect, if you eat from it and you make the miscalculation and you trip and you fall, you're going to have to pick up the mess. That's simple. And no one's going to do it for you, meaning that you're going to have to go down into the lower dimension, because all reality is going down into the lower dimension. You're going to have to go down and pick it up, and that's exactly what Adam has been doing in the guise of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the 12 tribes, and the entire nation of Israel. Adam is Israel. Israel is simply the embodiment, the manifestation, the beginning of the resurrecting body of Adam. And we'll go into this in more detail. This is what took place at Mount Sinai. It wasn't just about the giving of the Ten Commandments. That literally was the complete resurrection of Israel, of Adam. And Adam, Penrod is asking the question, when did I become Israel? This is what we're going to be going into, because the body of Israel has layers to it. And this is alluded to in the concept of Noga that I read from Isaiah. Noga is a glow that emanates out of the body. It is not the body of Israel. It is that which emanates, radiates out of the body, but it's never not there. And so this will require a new perspective, a new way of viewing and understanding things, how something can be not this or that, but something more than both. Adam asked again, is this Luzato's idea that Israel re-attained the level of Adam through their acceptance of the Torah? Yes, that is an aspect of that concept that Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, the Ramachal, teaches. But the perspective that we're taking here, it wasn't just simply that the nation of Israel re-attained the level of Adam, but at Mount Sinai, that was the resurrected body of Adam. And when we go through Chazal, I can then show you this is what they are stating once we know what to look for, because the whole nation were no longer individuals there. They all become melded into one collective being, and that was Adam. And it was only due to the sin of the golden calf, the fall, that then Adam partially fell back into the lower dimensionality, fragmented again up into individual beings. Yet this explains why to this very day there is the indivisibility of the nation of Israel, and why Jews feel a unique supernatural connection with one another. They can't help it, because collectively they are the resurrected body of Adam. Be granted, the resurrected body partially fell back, but this was the beginning of that process. And we know, Chazal states this very emphatically, if it had not been for the chet of the chet ego, that would have been it. There would have been no more history in future as we know it, because the final tikkun would have been made, and Adam would have rectified himself fully and completely. All right, folks, our time is up. Thank you for joining us, and feel free if you have any questions or suggestions during the week, feel free to email me, and I look forward to meeting again with you next week at the same time for the resurrecting body of Adam. Good night, folks.